Hello there, this is Instructor Paul, and in this lecture, I want to show you how you can schedule automatic backups of your servers. Now, here I am on my server ITFDC01, the domain controller, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to schedule backups to run every day at say 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Now, here we can see the single one-time backup that was successful that I ran, and then we can see the next backup information and things like that. We can see all backups. If I click on View Details here, can see the type of information and just more information about the backup that was run. Okay, so what I'm going to do is click OK, and we're going to either right click here on local backup and say backup schedule, or on the right hand side, just choose backup schedule. And I'm going to click next, and I'm going to choose a full server backup. I'll click next. And now we need to specify when do we want the backup to run. We can just run it once at 9 p.m. or more than once a day if you'd like. I'm just going to do once a day at 9 p.m. and I'll click next. Now we need to choose the destination type. Ideally you'll be backing this up to a hard disk that's dedicated for backups, but we don't have that kind of setup going on. We also can't choose backup to a volume because we don't have, a volume that we can use besides the C drive, and we don't want to use the C drive. So if I try and click next here, we're going to get an error saying there's no volumes, only non-critical. So anything other than the C drive should be used. Okay, so we're going to kind of get around these two options because we're still going to use the C drive, and this is not a good practice. You shouldn't do it this way. You should set up a dedicated backup server that you would, just send all your backups to. But we'll click next to say backup to a shared network folder. It'll say when you use a remote folder, storage, destination, schedule, each backup will erase the previous backup. So what this means is we're only going to have a single backup. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click OK. And I'm going to go ahead and copy in that name. So I have a shared folder on this domain controller called ITFDC01/backups. Again, I want to stress you should never store the backups on the computer you're making the backup of, because if ITFDC01 crashes, then the only way I can get backups for ITFDC01 is on ITFDC01, and that's just a bad idea. All right. So here under access control, we can only choose to inherit these options. And this makes it so that everyone who has access to the specified remote folder can access this shared backup. Okay, so I'm going to click next. And I'm going to need to type in the administrator or the user account that I'm using to access it. So in my case, it's administrator. And I'm going to type in the password for that user account. I'll click OK. And I will click finish. Okay, so now it's creating a backup schedule. So what's going to happen is every day at 9 p.m., it's going to create a backup and it's going to overwrite the previous backup. So I will always have a backup of this server that is at least, not older than a day old. Okay. So that is all we have to do. Now we can see here under next backup, we have a scheduled backup that is going to run at 9 p.m. We can click view details. And of course, there's no information about how much data was transferred. So after 9 p.m., tomorrow or 10 p.m. tonight, I can come back and check and I can see the last backup, see whether it was successful or not. And I could go view the backup, that kind of thing. I could recover it if I'd like. But that's all we need to do to schedule backups to run, at a certain time. Now, if we want to do more advanced things like keeping, 5 backups or things like that, we can get into that, but we're not going to cover that in this lecture. That is all we need to do. So great job getting through this lecture, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one.